Hi, I'm Josh Ebner. Welcome to the PSEG Long Island Home Comfort Whole House Residential Heat Load Calculations Training Series. As a home comfort partner, you'll find this series an invaluable guide for properly sizing and selecting mechanical equipment for participation in the home comfort program. In this segment, we'll be experiencing a live demonstration of Elitesoft RHVAC software. As I talked before, we have general project data right here. All these little windows, as you click on them, will open up. We're going to, again, easily start with general project data. Reference city, central islip. Here's our design winter temperature, 15, design summer temperature of 85. And for our purposes on whole house projects, we want to see designed winter temperature between 5 and 15 degrees Fahrenheit. If you go outside those ranges, that's going to cause a problem. You'll see here our system data window I mentioned before. Now on this house, I ended up doing both a block load for the first floor and a room by room for the second floor. So here I'm on the room data window, and you see room 6 is the first floor. Rooms 1 through 5 are the second floor. It's a 2-story colonial down in Patchogue. And we have our width and the length overall of this first floor house, which is a block load, again, on the first floor. One of the things I want to point out about this, when you're entering a floor here, so this is the first floor, you have a floor because it's over an unconditioned basement. However, this first floor doesn't have any roof or ceiling material. We leave that blank because above it is the second floor, and that's conditioned. So there's no energy transfer from the first floor to the second floor. So you would leave this roof ceiling material blank. But if you go look at the master bedroom, I have roof ceiling material in there because above that is an attic. So there's going to be heat transfer there, unconditioned to conditioned. And you'll notice on the master bedroom, I have no floor material because, again, below is conditioned. If we go back to the first floor, you'll see we have the wall material here, right? Common wall material inputs, your length, your height, and then you have your direction, north, east, south, west. So these are the 4 walls of the house. And once you input these directions and the number of the wall, we have our glass material down below. And this line here tells us we have occurrences. We have one occurrence referencing wall 1, and this is the glass width and height. So on wall 1, which is the north wall, we have one 4x6, like a picture window, occurring once on that north wall. Now, what you have here, 0 is projection. So this is if there's an overhang in front of a window. So you'll see here on wall 2, which is the east wall, we have 4 windows, but there's a 10-foot overhang. There's a front porch that overhangs these windows. Your door material down here, same thing. It references, the REF means reference, wall 2. So that east wall and that south wall both have doors. Put 2 people in here. And this is all pretty much straightforward. I'm going to show you, once you start opening up windows, they kind of remain open right down here. So here's our print preview. We showed you this form before. This house right now is requiring this many BTUs. If we just went back to the room data window and say we got rid of this projection, went to print preview, and we refresh it, 24,341. So you can see how the BTU changed right away, 25,386. So we took away that projection, and the cooling required went up because now there's more solar gain. When you do get this program, you'll see sometimes they have these warnings on the room data window. There's a way to check errors. So as you're inputting data, when you first start doing one, leave this on off or no, because it gets annoying as you go back from window to window. It's going to say, hey, this is missing, but you're not done. So it's good to turn this on at the end, and then it'll check for errors. And if you have a door that you forgot to enter a width, then it'll tell you, hey, there's no width for door 1. It's going to be ignored. So you would just go back in and add a width to door 1. This is where you would copy that default room data I mentioned earlier. The D is our default room data window. We go to system data. This is that infiltration number we were mentioning before. This is a 3 or 4 exposure, single story. Technically, this should be a 2-story. And his house is built in the early 1900s, so I put it as semi-loose. He's done some insulation upgrades to it. He does have that one fireplace. The CoolCalc is user-friendly. I like that it kind of guides you through everything you need to fill out. The tracing of the house is very nice as well. If you're going to be doing HVAC, you should own your own low-CAC program, though. You should buy Elitesoft or Rightsoft, or purchase a subscription to CoolCalc, but you need to have some kind of load calculation software. It really sets you apart from Chuck in a truck who's just, eyeballing it from the street and giving quotes over the phone. If you can master this skill, and it's a skill like any other skill, like changing a blower motor or changing a thermostat, it really adds value to what you can bring to the customer. Really shows them that you're trying more than the average Joe. So it's important to know how much heat and cool is going to flow in and out of a building. I mean, it's literally what you guys do when you're designing systems. You should be aware of how to use a manual J properly. The other thing I wanted to mention is on our worksheet, if you have a manual J that looks like this, 44,043 BTUs for heating, and say you installed 2 systems, 2 separately ducted systems, you would just divide those 2 systems, divide the manual J BTU between those 2 systems so that it passes on the worksheet. So if you had 2 1.5 tons or 2 2 tons, you would just take this, divide it in half, it'd be roughly 22,000 and change. You put in 2 24,000 BTU systems and that'll pass. I'm going to just quickly go over back to the room data here. The help bar is right here. So help on the current window pops up all the help you could ask for. This is pretty much how I learned most of this program. Elitesoft is very user-friendly to call. If you have any questions, on geothermal, we require manual S, so I had a little trouble figuring that out. And if you just call them, they're very friendly on the phone, help walk you through any questions you might have. As you click on certain building envelope types, you can even create your own custom one. I know a lot of guys are doing spray foam on houses these days, so you can see you can create your own custom wall assembly or roof assembly. You can delete rooms right up here. Let's see. Let's go back to system data. This is the duct load factors we talked about earlier. Just going to bring you through this real quick. He's got duct location in an enclosed crawl, but you see there's all these choices here, conditioned space. So if you're doing a ductless installation, you say you're going to heat this whole house and cool this whole house with a ductless, you would still put in these duct load properties, but you would make it conditioned space. So there's really no losses because there's no ductwork, but you need to enter something in there for ductless. Make sure it's conditioned space. And there's a lot of other inputs as well. I mean, there's ventilation. I mean, you could, if you wanted to do a true, full manual J with all the choices selected, it could take an hour, 2 hours if it's your first time. Generally, once you've done 12, 13, 20 of these, we run into the same types of houses over and over. It's a ranch, it's a 2-story, it's built in the 40s, 60s, 80s. So once you have a good set of manual J's done, saved in your computer, and I'd encourage you to save them as the type of house they are. So, you would save this one as Ebner project, 2-story, 1915 colonial, single pane window. So you can save it describing it so that next time you go on an estimate and it's a very similar house, you can just open that one up and change the room dimensions. So instead of being, okay, that house at the Ebners was 40 by 28, this one's 36 by 30, and you can easily get a quick manual J that's accurate just by using the ones that you've already done.
Hey Josh, it's Brian. Let's also remind the partners on the line today that the Home Comfort Program does have a reimbursement component to it. Once you submit 20 projects, that I believe is it 50% of the manual J reimbursement?
That's right.
Yeah.
50%.
So I believe if, it's been a couple of years, but I believe that at least the Elitesoft package was somewhere about $400 to $500.
Mm-hmm.
So, half of that would be reimbursed through the program after 20 projects. And if folks already have that under their belt and they're part of the program, well, there's certainly an opportunity there. But that would apply as well also for Cool Calc or any of the approved ACA Manual J8, right? Or ACA 8
Sure.
compliance.
Sure, yeah, any of the software, definitely.
Okay.
And there's other benefits. I mean, it says the manual J, the heat gain, heat loss calculation, but there is, also a quick sales proposal tool here. There's energy audit imports, which I've never done, but Haggerty might know more about that. I believe there's a way for the weatherization contractors to, there's open energy audit program. So there's this software, but there's commercial software, Manual N. They do offer more than just this version of the software.
Just so you know, for some of the other software, even though there's buttons on here, there is additional fees to use some of the other software, such as the audit software and different parts of this. Even though the buttons are on here, you'll only get a demo version usually when you look at it. You don't have the full complement unless you purchase that program separate.
Thank you, Brian. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point because I think they have other add-ons to this, right? Manual, with the Manual J is what we're seeing today, but Manual S and Manual D, and there's other, there's other inputs that they can have.
Yeah, on their website, they have a listing of all the different things that's available depending on what you're involved with regard to other HVAC options for the business.
Yeah, and there's also this drawing board mode we talked about briefly. I've played with it a little bit. It's trickier than the room data entry method, and it's also an upgrade if you wanted to get the drawing board mode. Evidently, you can take plans though and import them right into drawing board mode, like a set of house plans, and then you can draw the ductwork and the systems on top of that. So there's a lot of complexity and additional features that I have really not dived into, but could be very valuable to somebody who's doing this on a daily basis. Thanks for watching. To see this whole series and to access additional helpful program content, be sure to visit us often at PSEGLINY.com.